Hey, welcome to another edition of Larry's First Impression Beer Reviews. Today I have the distinct privilege of trying some KBS with my good friend Stout Scott, and we've got a treat. We've got a 2018 and a 2019 KBS from Founders. Scott went to the release party last Saturday on the 8th, I think it was the 8th of March, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
The 8th of March. Went down there, what time were you down there, like noon?
About noon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And got himself a 4-pack and a little bit of swag. So he's got the KBS glass going on. And the idea today is to do a side-by-side comparison with 18 and 19. So we did have a little question about what was going on with a little bit on the label. It says right here in front, Founders, the amazing, I hope I'm mispronounced this, Komiski? Komikis? Something. So
Sounds like he might be the brewmaster of this stuff.
So I don't know. He's probably been with Founders for a while. I think KBS has been around since like, I don't know, 2000. I don't know. I really don't know how long it's been around, but every year this is like highly acclaimed, and it even says highly acclaimed on it. It's highly hyped. If we're lucky enough to be in Michigan, so we can pretty much get it almost right away. Some people are putting this stuff on like social media and selling it for like 3 times to people who are willing to pay for it. So it's really hyped, and it's really, really popular out there on the beer advocates and whatnot. Gives really high scores. I have had KBS on tap only one time before, several years ago, and it was really before I could even appreciate the style. So I've had a few bourbon barrel aged stuff recently within the last year, but not KBS.
Right.
Scott is a coworker of mine, a good friend, and we have sort of been in a beer swap thing at work, and so we've dabbled in with some more of the stout stuff just because somebody brings a stout or whatever. And he introduced me probably more so into the IPA world, but now he's branching out and is really getting into the stouts. So I know he's probably more excited about this side by side than I am, but anyway.
So a quick side story is this KBS, this is 2019-18. This is the first beer I actually tried to cellar. So I kind of heard a little bit about guys really hyping up the cellaring scene, and this is the very first one I've tried that I've held on to for a whole year. So I'm pretty excited to do this.
So that's a lot of backstory about who we are. But so let's take a look at the label on this thing, and you're probably not going to be able to see it very well from across the table. But the 18 and the 19 are very, very, very similar, almost verbatim across the front of the label. And the only thing on the back is they do have the stamp of which year it may be. So other than that, Founders, the amazing Kaminsky's, highly acclaimed. KBS, a flavored stout, good for everything that a stout ought to be. Ale brewed with chocolate and coffee, aged in bourbon barrels. So I guess breakfast stout would be because coffee. Is that why they call it a breakfast stout?
Yeah, I would think so.
And the K used to stand for Kentucky. So KBS, Kentucky Breakfast Stout. They have had to drop that name and change it to KBS,
Right.
because it's not brewed in Kentucky, it's brewed in Michigan. So I think that the Kentucky refers to the bourbon barrels more so than where it's brewed, but people in Kentucky are pissed off because they don't want to say Kentucky, it's brewed in Michigan. So that's why it's KBS now and not Kentucky Breakfast Stout. Same thing, just semantics. They have the embossment, the barrel aged series, along with the gold cap that signifies their bourbon barrel series. Attention to detail Founders is badass. They've got their own sort of shape of bottle. The bottle has got brewing company embossed right in the glass on it, so it's not a generic bottle at all. So, is there anything you wanted to add about the way the label is?
No, I think it's pretty set in stone. They kind of use the same label. I think 2017 they had a little different label, but
Let's crack the early one, and then get some to a sniffer. Since these are yours, I'll let you do the honors of that. A little smoke come off that bad boy. So yeah, gold cap, and here's a nice surprise, a nice attention to detail there. This says barrel age series right inside the cap itself. Nice frothy, caramely toffee head on that. All right. Bourbon. I smell bourbon.
definitely got a bourbon flavor.
Does it say the
right off the
APV?
bat.
Does it say the APV on it? Is it upwards of 12?
On the bottle, I don't see that.
That's a shame. I hate it when they don't actually put it on the bottle. But I think it's upwards of 12.
Yeah, I think it's up there. Right, if I remember right.
So here's to brewing for us. That's Founder's kind of mantra. Cheers, 2018.
Definitely got a lot of that bourbon right up front.
The bourbon carries and it rolls.
Yes.
It kind of builds across your palate, and then it lingers. Chocolate, coffee.
I can taste the coffee. I think I taste coffee more than chocolate. I taste a stronger coffee flavor, but a little hint of chocolate.
I would agree with that. I would agree that there's overwhelmingly the bourbon flavor is the most prominent, and it hangs around a lot.
Right.
I hope that this one doesn't spoil my palate while we crack the other one. All right, so I'm excited about this. Do you think that they're going to be rather similar?
Well, this is my first attempt at cellaring, so
I think that perhaps the
not a
cellaring
real strong flavor out of the bottle for me, but
I almost got
the
nothing.
smell is just not there much.
Yeah, I don't really
out of
have
the bottle.
nothing out of the bottle. I'm anticipating that cellaring may have mellowed the chocolate and coffee flavors and let the bourbon barrel stuff sort of take over. I don't really know, but I'm anticipating that this might be a little more flavorful as far as the coffee or the chocolates, but probably the bourbon barrel's still there. So 1 year, right?
1 year later.
All right. Cheers. Here's brew for us. Thanks, founders.
Little less bourbon smell.
Yeah,
Just like out of the bottle.
Yeah, it's not prominent at all. Completely different.
Huh.
That's completely different.
Yeah, there's a big difference in flavor.
So I would say this one's bourbon barrel is not as prevalent as the aged stuff.
The smell is totally different.
Oh yeah. They got really oak
Yeah.
last year's.
It definitely makes a big difference.
I'm surprised. So do you think it's the aging of the cellaring? Or do you think it's just a different batch a year later as far as the coffee quality, the chocolate quality, the barrel quality?
I think it could be a little of both, but my word, it's just like a different beer.
It's not nearly as bourbony.
Right.
So I would say if you were turned off by KBS last year because it was just a little bit too much bourbon and not enough of the other flavors, I think this would be a better. You should try this year's.
Right.
it's a different beer. It
Totally different.
Totally different.
And this being my first attempt at cellaring a beer, it's hard for me to tell, like, is it really the year off? Or is it just the batch? But it's definitely a big difference.
I don't know. It would be my impression that one of the 3 prongs is different. Mm-hmm. Either the barrels were more fresher for this batch, so they got more of that bourbon and oak flavors out of it. Right. Maybe it's a second generation barrel. I don't think so. I don't think Founders does that, but or it could be variation in the chocolate or variation in the coffee. Or even the malts.
I mean, I would assume that a company as big as Founders would be very consistent with
the recipe.
With their recipe, with their brewer, with their barrels. So, but some of the big beer gurus that I listen to, some of the other reviews that I listen to, or say that it doesn't matter. The ingredients can change, the barrels can change a little bit. And some people really notice a difference every year.
I kind of expected them to be very, very similar, with subtle nuances, which I didn't get. I got extreme difference as far as the bourbon.
Yeah, definitely huge. I was expecting the opposite, actually. I was expecting last year's to be the more mellow, not as much bourbon.
Yeah,
but I'm getting more bourbon from last year's than this year's.
Yeah, because of the aging process. You would think that they would sort of blend and chill and mold together. And I think maybe the chocolate and the coffee in the 18 is blended more together. The bourbon really comes forward to that one for me.
Right. I agree.
I should have had some lunch. So high alcohol content, and I'm kind of feeling this just a little bit already.
Yeah, doesn't take long with these.
No, and so surprisingly well covered. I mean, I don't get any of that really warm. Holy shit! This has got a lot of alcohol content burned down to the belly. So it's really a nice dessert sipper.
Yeah.
I would enjoy this maybe just it's late in the evening after a long day's work.
Right.
And I just want to crack a stout and just enjoy it.
Right. Absolutely. Great warm sipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have this stuff at relatively cold? I don't.
Well, I put it in the fridge, so I kept it a little cold.
So overall, what's your take? We'll wrap it up here for the video.
I am one of those guys that actually really likes more of the bourbon presence. So I know we've talked about this before, and everybody just raves over the bourbon barrels, and I'm one of those people. I love bourbon barrel aged stuff. I love it. So with that said, I know you've said that you're not always a fan of it. You're okay with it, but I love bourbon. I like bourbon, so I like the barrel aged stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, this stuff's just amazing. I love it.
How could anybody not like it? I mean, either version of it is very good. I don't know if the cellaring helped it or not, but I think both of them are very good versions. Who'd you recommend it to?
Just about anybody. Any fans of stouts or, there are people coming all over the country just to come for this release. So, it's good stuff. People pay premium money for it for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I think Founders just nails it.
What did you have to give for the 4-pack at Founders?
I think it was $23 or $24.99 or something like that for a 4-pack.
Okay,
so it's expensive.
That's at Grand Rapids.
Yeah,
at their release party.
That's right at the source. So,
and they were only letting people have one case.
One case,
and people were having cases, right?
Oh yeah, Yeah, the place was packed. Everybody had cases of it. So
they were grabbing whatever they could grab of it.
yep.
Maybe to sell or some. Maybe to sell
Right.
some to pay for the expense of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, I didn't really check this, but I think I've heard that people are trying to like unload this stuff already online
Oh,
for like double the price.
I believe it.
For people who are like, further out of state of Michigan, maybe not
Yeah.
even in the I don't know if Founders is distribution, but I know it's like at least tri-state area.
Right.
But I know people on the West Coast or even the East Coast have heard of this stuff and want it. And it would probably be advantageous if you could buy a case of it, because you were allowed to have one case.
Right.
Sell her some, drink some.
Sell
Sell
for
some
triple
online.
the price to someone else on the
Yeah.
other side of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never actually really thought about that kind of angle, but maybe it might be something you might want to consider in the future, because at $23 for a 4-pack, it's pretty steep.
Right.
But it's highly acclaimed. I mean, they say right on the label it's highly acclaimed.
Right.
So the hype is definitely there. You won't be able to find this stuff on the shelves in 6 weeks.
Right.
It'll just be gone.
Yeah.
It'll just be gone just because of its reputation.
Right.
Have you ever had it on tap?
I've never had it on tap.
I don't think they even bother, do they?
Only at their location. They do, but just there. And I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where they might kind of throw some out there to a couple places.
I gotta say that, I asked you which one you preferred, and I asked you, well, who do you recommend it to, and whatnot. But I would say that I actually enjoyed the 18 version to the 19 version. But I don't know whether it was because you cellared it, or if it was just better outright out front.
Right.
So my next question is, how many of the 18s do you have?
I still have, I think, 5 more 18s.
Okay, so for 5 years now, we can do this exact same thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
That sounds like a riot.
So
That sounds
next
like
year, hopefully we'll be sitting right here doing the same thing with another 18, 19, and a 20.
that sounds awesome. Let's do that shit. Oh my god.
So we'll really see how it changes.
We're gonna have to buy more snifters.
Right.
All right, so we're probably running long. You're probably really bored of watching us drink this beer. But if you enjoy watching these videos as much as I enjoy drinking the beer, go ahead, be a subscriber, comment, and with that, we're going to check out. So, Scott, I appreciate you. Founders, here's to brewing for us, and Rudder out. Thanks, Scott.